So let me start right away. I can show my ass. Look.
Okay, that's better.
Here are we, me and my good buddy Eldoria. We're gonna talk about hallucinogenics and my first experience with them, and I'll also describe to you motherfuckers my first hallucinogenic trip ever. And all of the insights it kind of gave me, and it kind of reconfigured my entire life. It put everything into a new perspective from the beginning to this present moment. I realized so many fucking things about myself and about the world. But because Eldoria is the actual expert here, she probably took more LSD and mushrooms than I drank beers in my life. So I would allow my dear friend Eldoria to start the discussion.
What do you want me to talk about? Okay. So basically, psychedelics I use. I've been using them. First time I tried a psychedelic, I was probably 15, 16. However, I used them to party and have fun with my friends, right? But when you partake in psychedelics, it opens up your mind, it opens up your subconscious, it opens up your energetic body. You get, if you're struggling with inner answers, that you need answers within yourself, these are things that it might not happen while you're on them, but while you're coming down from them, it's almost like you're so open to receive the messages so clearly from your spirit guides, from the gods, whatever. That's when you get a lot of answers, and you'll be like, "Oh crap!" And you see yourself from a different perspective too. You get to see yourself from an outside point of view on things that maybe that you didn't realize you were doing, let's say to your family members or to your partner. When you do psychedelics, you get to see their side of things sometimes, or like something that might be bugging you that you didn't know that was bugging you is brought up, and you're like, oh, okay. And it's almost like it's all positive reflection. Okay, even though it might be a negative thing, in a way, it's actually really a positive reflection of how you can handle the situation and have it go your way. That's how I found it useful. But then as I went on, as I got older and older, um, and I struggled with harder addictions, psychedelics, first I got clean off of everything for a good year, got everything out of my system. And then introduced LSD and mushrooms back into my practice and into my life as a medicine, as a way to practice magic and to communicate with the spirits easier, and how to kind of have fun with the spirits, because there is a certain energy and spirits that come along, especially with magic mushrooms. I find a lot of the fae. I see a lot of fae. I see a lot of entities that I get into their realm. I can go into their realm, and they're very, very excited that I've got reached into their realm, and a lot of them are very happy. I've never ever had a bad experience using these psychedelics. However, warning, okay, because I'm not a doctor, whatever, but I suggest anybody don't to. Oh, some people take 5 grams the first time, or they take 6 hits the first time, and they fucking go crazy because it's too much. Like, you can't do that. You have to build yourself up to that. You always test things out if you're going to introduce any type of chemical substance or any substance into your body, to see how you're going to react to it first. Don't be naive and don't be dumb and just take a bunch of stuff. It's not about getting really high. It's about being able to maintain a level of openness to so the spirits can communicate with you, and you receive your answers. You can push magic without having to do a lot of magic. And I'm sure you understand now, Demetrius. I'm sure there was a point where you understood how you can use your mind and energy just by being on psychedelics to magically get things, without having to perform huge rituals. But yeah, uh, it's a lot of shamans, all these witch doctors back in the day. This is something they practiced. It's something they did. The toad licking, ayahuasca, magic mushrooms, all this stuff comes from the earth. This is not things, I mean, LSD is synthetic, but um, it has more of a, it's more of a, what's it called? It's not a bonding heavy drug where it chains you to this earth, where like alcohol, cocaine, heroin, those type of drugs totally destroy your consciousness, totally destroy your energy, totally destroy your whole being, because you feed lower entities this drug. There's nothing liberating about being a cokehead, but if you stick to earth, plants, medicine, that's how we um can grow as spiritual people. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is something you are really passionate about, and you can talk for really, really long time about it because you really open up about this more than about any other topic we discussed. And you and I are friends for a long time, and we talked about a lot of shit and also a lot of bullshit.
Hmm.
So essentially, I will kind of describe my trip and how it started and what happened. And essentially, so you told me to take half of a pill, and I took two pills. But
Not pill.
I was like really sloppy in a sense that I took two pills, but I didn't knew that they were connected with the thing, so I thought that I took only one thing. But in reality, I took everything. So I kind of didn't even know how to take it. I was like Googling on the internet how to take it before after I actually took it, because I thought that essentially I need to, I don't know, do something special or whatever. So I was complete noob. And so I essentially took everything and I started being freaked, but not because sensations were too intense, but because I had the familiar feelings. Let me explain. So, since I was a little child, I would like have those short episodes in which first I will see spirals and I talk to cartoon characters, but different different entities would come to me and I would talk, and first I thought it's just my imagination. But then I figured out down the line that it's not my imagination and the things are actually different. And through all of those years, even in my medical practice, I thought that what I was experiencing was not really spiritual experience that I was imagining or whatever. But when I took LSD, I started having the familiar feelings. I started seeing the same colors and the same spirals. And the beings, the etheric beings, would come to me in the same way. And so at first I thought I was imagining, but then I realized that for whatever reason I cannot get out of that state. For whatever reason, it's like going on and on and on. And so I pretty clearly started to figure out that what I was experiencing for all of those years was actually a trance state, and that I have been tripping my whole life, more or less. And that also I have a different brain than other people. So to me, it happens naturally. So I need to be really careful about how I behave and how I speak to people, because sometimes I would like trip in the middle of the conversation with somebody, which kind of happened with you even a few times. We had weird arguments over something. I don't remember what it was. So essentially, this trip kind of showed me that I was actually reaching trance, and that what I was experiencing was actually trance and was actually soul traveling, or aka tripping. So I essentially reconfigured my entire life in a way. It kind of shifted my approach to everything, my approach to relationship, my approach to spirits, my approach to rituals, my approach to life. It literally shifted everything because it had been showing me that I was kind of accidentally entering that state for years without knowing it. And if I want to be honest, I entered that state today maybe 2 times in intervals about 3 minutes. So what I gonna say also is that when you are on hallucinogenics, the state is induced by the form of poisoning. So the images, at least for me, they change really, really fast, and experiences change really, really fast. And you can call spirits hallucinogens, but experience will be really, really fast. So, for example, I called Goddess Kali, and Kali came, but and I told Kali to slow down my brain. But when she slowed down my brain, what happened was my brain slowed down, but it didn't slow down in its entire field of vision. It looked like the field of vision around Kali is slowing down, but there are parallel streams of consciousness which were going at the same speed as previously.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty surreal in a sense. But then again, after I figured out that where I was actually spirit world, spiritual planes, spirals and shit, then I simply figured out that everything which would work as a defense in my usual ritual works here too. So it was literally impossible for me to have any form of negative experience. Even if something would attach, I would pretty easily remove the thing. And so, regarding this experience, it wasn't about what it did, it was about what it didn't do. Because it didn't fundamentally show me any state of consciousness I didn't know already. What it showed me is that I was capable of doing it on myself, on my own, and that I really have a weird brain structure, which forced me to really re examine my behaviors and relationships and everything I do. Because when you have such a weird brain, and when you can do it multiple times on a daily basis, it's actually not a good thing
Mm-hmm.
because your mind loses a grasp of reality a lot, and it's difficult to understand people around you, which makes you, by definition, some form of antisocial individual.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a problem because when you are antisocial due to your brain chemistry, it's really difficult to have hard bonds with people and long lasting relationships because while you are tripping, you will almost always fuck up and people will not understand it. And so I need to exercise enormous amount of self control. And that's something I am working on right now because I need to navigate those trips so perfectly that when I am tripping, nobody notices. And as somebody who took those things and who were tripping a lot in life, you know how difficult it was. Because, for example, let's say I am walking in a city or riding a horse, and then trip starts and it lasts for a minute and 20 seconds. Well, good luck with that. You know, it's actually not a good thing, but it also allows me to connect with spirits really, really good, and that's why I am able to like channel extreme amount of information for like short period of time because my brain is not essentially normal. But contrary to popular belief, it's nothing to be how to express myself. I need to find that word. It's nothing which is actually
It's
beneficial in a way people. It's not beneficial in a way people think it is. Uh, it's really like having some form of weird trade-off.
I understand that because that must be hard for you because and I say schizophrenia because I know a lot of people who suffer from schizophrenia. Well, I don't know them. I used to know some people, but I watch a lot of documentaries, and they trip, right? They see things, they hallucinate, but it's a little bit different. It's not like it's the way that schizophrenia explain it has nothing to. It doesn't it doesn't um look like the same way when you're tripping on LSD because LSD or any psychedelics, they have a certain energy to it. Like if you're seeing the same things you do when you're on LSD, that means I'm wondering, did your mother ever use chemicals when she was pregnant with you? LSD?
No, no, she didn't. But weird thing happened. But I will. She didn't use any drugs, but the weird thing happened. Anyway, I was supposed to die.
Hmm.
By all medical accounts, I was supposed to die. By all medical calculations, but
Okay.
I survived. And I kind of always had like those weird episodes of. So how to describe it? I would like be a kid, and I would like sit, and I would like go on a trip, uh,
Yeah.
and it would last for a long time, and I would laugh so much that I would like completely lose a sense of reality. But then again, the difference between my trips and ordinary trips is when I started doing them really long, certain things started happening which are not exactly explainable by rational means. So let me give an example. So I am like talking to what I think is a cartoon character, right? And that so called cartoon character pronounces the following sentence like, is there anything more brave than to rebel against death and to the rebel against the creator itself? And then that guy turned into a white snake. So it seems to me that it was a really, really intense from the beginning.
Hmm. Yeah. That happened to you when you were a kid?
Yeah, I wasn't actually a kid. I was 14 and a half.
Okay. Okay. So just when your brain's
So,
changing too, that age, you're 15, 14, that's when your brain starts to grow more. So, hmm.
yeah.
So what how long did it last for you?
So for me, actually, to be more precise, since I started doing my spiritual practices when I was 16, I kind of spontaneously managed to get control over my trips. Uh, by the way, back in the day, until a few days ago, I didn't know that those were trips, aka soul traveling experiences.
Hmm.
I thought it was simply me imagining a certain phenomenon. But essentially, the magic is a form of psycho navigation. With magic, you are learning to navigate the qualities and potentials of your own soul through ritual practice.
Hmm.
So, what I kind of found out through this trip, uh, the thing with those trips on psychedelics is so I gonna quote the Slavic deity Morana, the goddess of death. So she kind of proclaimed on multiple occasions that death is the essence of all magic. So the essence of all magic is near death experience. The
Hmm.
essence of magic is like coming to that point, putting something into the universe, and then it happens.
Yeah.
So what happens to our brain or on psychedelics? You essentially take a certain poison, and that poison induces a near death experience to a certain degree.
Yep.
So all of the things you see on psychedelics are actually part of spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
They are actually part of spiritual realms of spiritual intelligences. And I agree that psychedelics are extremely insightful. They are extremely useful. But the problem is that people don't realize what they are. So they use them mostly for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And because of nature of damage of the brain on psychedelics is such that modern medicine technically cannot cure it
Mm-hmm.
because they get spirit attachments, spiritual attacks, brain damage, hormonal imbalances. If you abuse it for fun, it kind of creates a form of consequences which cannot be sanated.
Well, what happens is if you're using it all the time, like if you can deplete. Okay, so with magic mushrooms and LSD, I don't think there's any scientific proof that it actually causes harm, because now they're advocating for microdosing these types of um, substances to help depression, anxiety, and stuff like that, rather than using chemicals and antidepressants. The thing that does fuck up your brain is things like ecstasy, heroin, all of that stuff will deplete your chemicals in your brain, and you'll lack that. So that's why when people stop using heavy drugs, they go through a crazy depression, and they're emotionally at the age where they started to use and abuse that drug, because their brain didn't have a chance to grow and to mature emotionally, or even like there's certain parts of their brains that was depleted by that chemical because it was overstimulated. It was depleting it. I know people who use, I don't know if a lot of people, like a lot of people use ecstasy anymore, but ecstasy was a huge thing when I was growing up, and of course I used it. It's kind of like MDMA, but now they're selling pure MDMA, and they're doing it so if you use a little bit of it, it produces that serotonin that the people who are very depressed are lacking, and it's having more of um, a, a better effect. So it all depends, I think, on how you're using it, because I also believe too, a big part of human evolution was our ancestors, people who partaked in using magic mushrooms as ceremonies. It actually made them more smarter. It made them more smarter, made them more conscious, made them more aware of what they are and who they are. You know, it's the abuse of it, or the see, I can't say it. I can't. I don't. I'm pretty sure there is no, especially for magic mushrooms. It's called facilidine or whatever the chemical is in it that makes you hallucinate. Um, LSD, if you take too many like just like if you take too much, like, and I mean take a lot, like people are taking 30 tabs every week. Yeah, you're gonna have a fucking, you're gonna overstimulate your brain, and you're gonna deplete that natural DMT that you produce. And DMT is another crazy psychedelic, and ayahuasca. People, because DMT is produced in your pineal gland, and when you die, when you dream, you're producing DMT. When you die, I think they did research, when you die, your brain secretes the DMT. So yeah, when you die, you're going to have that type of trip that you see when you're hallucinating. That's it's very complex, but it's really interesting, and it's cool. But I do agree, if you overuse it and you abuse it, your brain's not going to be able to naturally produce that. And it seems like your brain has a lot of it. You have a lot of DMT in your brain. You have a lot of it, and in your pineal gland, you're above average person. So I'm wondering, when you do take the psychedelics, bringing it out to you, is it going to now has it like jump started it again? Are you is it back again, or
So, to be clear, the day after I took it, I had like difficulties.
Mm.
getting in trance. But the day after, when I recovered, my trances became much more intense
Mhm.
because I managed to recognize when I was in trance and simply roll with the experience.
Okay. Well, everybody after using LSD can't sleep. Like it's something that you kind of need a couple hours, like maybe. That's why I prefer mushrooms because you're only tripping for 4 hours. After that, you can go to sleep. But LSD is more potent and more strong, so you're up for 12 hours, and then you still feel kind of sketchy the next day because your brain just made all of that happen. It's intense. It's intense. Plus, there's different strains of LSD. Um, you can order it online where we are, so it's from like a place where it's not off the streets. Like that's if you're going to get psychedelics, you don't want to get it off the streets. You want to get it from people that who have their company, that have reviews, that have a base, that have, you know they're professionals in making it because it's something you're taking into your body. But then if you get it on the streets and you don't know what you're taking, you got assholes out here that will mix your shit with fentanyl or do whatever, and you don't know what you're taking and you can die. So always make sure you go online and see if your country delivers it to there. But yeah, that's it. You got to be careful where you get your shit. You can also make mushrooms. You can actually make that. You can go on YouTube. It's a long process, but there's a way you can make your own shit. It's too long. It takes like 3 months. I don't think I could do that. It takes 3 months, but
Yeah, but I'm interested how so for the audience because majority of this audience is into psychedelics, and so you are like a psychedelic mega giga veteran, right? So, what's your advice for taking them safely for mental and physical health? What are the precautions?
okay, like I said before, do not overtake something. Take a little bit of it, wait an hour and see how you feel. See how your body reacts to it. People can be allergic to this too. I had this one guy when I was a teenager. I think he took like 2 grams of shrooms and he was allergic to it, and his back broke out in like these weird hives, like hives I've never seen before. They were like bluish. So you can be allergic to it, but like I said, take a little. If you get LSD and they come in little tabs, cut the tabs up and take a little bit. Wait a bit and then take another one. Wait a bit until you're feeling comfortable and your body can adjust to it and you can see where you are. Don't be foolish and just it's not alcohol. It's not a joint. This is something a little bit more serious. You have to take a little bit to see how you react to it. And then you'll know. And then you can just do what you want to do after.
Yeah,
Because I have tripped very hard. And because I'm an expert, I can hold it down. However, if somebody asked me to go drive them somewhere, I could not drive because um, when I close my eyes, see what I do is when I take it, when you close your eyes, you go into the realms. Like you're seeing the shit, you're seeing the gods, you're seeing spirits, you're seeing things, and then you're communicating and talking, right? And then you open your eyes, I can focus, but yeah, everything else is still kind of blurry. Colors are heightened, everything's heightened. Um, but if you take too much, which I have before, I'm like, oh shit, this is intense. So what I recommend is if you ever get too fucked up, get yours. Don't get in. If you get into a paranoid state, you're gonna get paranoid, and you're gonna lose the trip. You're gonna get paranoid. You're not gonna enjoy yourself. Always go back. Go put your phone on, and start watching comical shit. Change that into laughter, into laughing, because laughing produces endorphins and it changes the whole trip. If you trip out, I mean, this isn't crack, so you're not going to really trip out, but some people do trip out because they can't handle not being grounded into this reality. Some people hate psychedelics because they don't like being free. They like to be like they have to be analytical, logical. I've known some people who are so like book smart, this, that, so serious about life that when they do take it, they don't like it because it takes them out of their ego and it takes them out of themselves, that they don't enjoy it and they don't use it for what the beneficial part, which is like really seeing yourself and feeling and communicating on a different level. So, yeah. I will be doing ayahuasca soon. That's my next thing. That energy's been calling me. So I know somebody that can set me up with someone that actually lives in my city, an old shaman lady, an old Mexican shaman lady, and she takes you out to her cabin and you do the ceremony with her. So that will be my next stage.
Yeah. But essentially, what's your craziest experience on mushrooms?
Um, Going out into the forests. When you go into nature and you do mushrooms, it's a totally different trip than being in your own safe environment, because you see, you hear, you connect with the earth, but then you're also not part of the earth. It's very, and it's almost like animals know that you're on it, so they communicate with you, that you can well, I think so when I'm high. I don't know. It's true, my animals are probably like but I feel like I'm communicating with them, and I can test it out. Actually, I'll be like calling my cat in my mind to see if my cat will come or not. You open up certain parts of your psychic abilities where um especially in nature, because you'll notice signs more. The trees, you communicate with plants easy. Talking to trees, it's true. You talk to trees, you'll talk to the plants, you talk to everything, because you're becoming one. You're lifting the barriers of separation and becoming one with everything. Very dope experience.
Yeah. But since I am actually doing heavy work with Faye, I can say that it's heavy lifting. So, what's your experience with them?
With what?
With the fairies?
Okay, so I've experienced the little gremlin ones, the little nasty ones. I've actually captured them on my camera, and I didn't know what they were. This years ago. But when I do mushrooms, and I close my eyes and I enter into a realm, I do see some fae. I see them. They're very weird, but they're not threatening with me. I don't know. They like me, I guess, because they start dancing and they start doing this weird shit, and they don't talk. They just observe, and they're just kind of like, you made it here. You're in our fucking realm here. you know. Um, I see Kalima a lot when I trip out. There's some spirits that just love when you trip, because they come and Kali and the Jinn too. If it was when I was working with the Jinn, they really brought forth the mushrooms to me. And I know in a lot of practices back in the day, they would make this stuff called homa something. It's a milk drink, and the Archdave or Tapriv is responsible for drugs and psychedelics, but they really do like when people use that, because they can interact with you very easier, and they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, essentially, it's interesting you mentioned Tapper, because I work with the same being, and he also suggested psychedelics. So, can you like explain your work with Tapper to the audience?
So Tapriv was the Archdaver that pulled me out of my body. One of the most amazing experiences I've ever had with a spirit. I mean, I was lying here in my bed. I was doing working hard with Aramon and the Archdevas. I didn't know it was Tapriv at the time, but I got pulled out of my body. I got sedated because I got overexcited, because I'm like, oh, this is an experience. There's a god. There's a demon. There is a powerful dark thing in my room, and it's communicating with me. And I could feel it I can see it in my mind's eye in the back in my closet. It was all dark, and it had these tendrils, and I could hear this crackling, sounded like a fire, like the embers of a fire at the end of a fire. That crackling sound, that's what it sounded like. And he proceeded to wrap his tendril around my waist, and it burnt my astral body. I could feel it sizzling it, and he stimulated my kundalini into that state of heightened sexuality where you don't climax, but you're extremely sexually stimulated, where it's so intense. And then you feel pressure from your behind your anal, like it's just pure pressure and sexual stimulation. He opened up my subconscious to hearing a song, a song that I created somewhere along or in the future in another life, but it was me. And I was like, is that me? And he unblocked my limits and showed me that I can achieve something that I had no clue I could achieve. Um, and then he left and put me back in my body, and I got up and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I couldn't remember it. And ever since that happened, my music's changed. I've been able to hear songs before I create them. Um, and yeah, very, very, very intense experience for me to have something like that unlock something in my subconscious I didn't even know was there. I like Taproot a lot. And then I didn't know what it was. I was asking Ariman. I'm like, Ariman, like, who was this? This wasn't you. I've seen Ariman before, and this wasn't Ariman. Then I was looking through Black Magic of Ariman, and I saw the picture of Taproot. I'm like, that's him. That's it. That's him. That's how I knew it was him. So working with these entities, they will, if you trust them and you don't have fear, they will unlock things in your mind that your abilities, things that you desire, that you had no clue were there. Those limits. We have so many limits in our mind. I don't know. So, but yeah, anyway, so he commute. So, the psychedelics is a huge part of my life now because I use it. I'll use them maybe once a week. Once a week, I'll go and I'll put up my altar. I'll start dancing. I'll use them. I really do a shamanic dance with them when I'm feeling good. And if I get too trippy, I have to lie down on my bed and do everything in my mind. Because sometimes you know how your body is really loose, it really relaxes you. Um, Also, yeah, when you use mushrooms, it relaxes your muscles. So if you have chronic pain anywhere, like it's like an energetic massage you get. But yeah, was that good? How was your
Yeah,
experience with
but
taproot?
I have one. What was my experience?
Mm,
So my experience physically is that I get really, really denser in physical body, probably because I was trying to figure out what was happening. Uh, and what I also had was like a orgasmic sensation in entire aura
mm-hmm.
and hysterical laugh and euphoria, but it's normal. Uh, by the way, it was the same kind of hysteric love you had during physical intimacy before the physical act starts when your energy body intermingles with the energy body of another person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had extended period of that experience for about 2 hours, but later I uh, realized what to do and how to navigate the experience. So the last question I will ask you, because you kind of know what my experience was and how it went, and there were interesting points there. But the last question I have for you is essential. Uh, how to ask the question. I need to phrase it well because I try not to yell as I did previously. So I have difficulties talking sometimes because when I don't yell, I feel weird. So let me phrase a sentence. Uh, anyway, the last question for tonight is did you ever try psychedelics while we did the Lilith operations? And what was uh, result with that?
I can't remember because I used them, so I'm sure I did. You're talking about when we were working with Lilith together,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, I did use them with Lilith. Yeah. Um, I just got more connection with her. I was able to see her when I uh was stripping, like I got to communicate with her. I got to see her. She came through. Just the whole energy, just it's when I work with certain spirits, the energy in my room just change. And when I use psychedelics, it's more like I open myself up more trusting with them so their energy can flow through me and this reality easier where there's no boundaries or like there's no I can trust myself more when I use psychedelics and I work with the spirit because they show me their side where people don't talk about their fun, loving side. Not all spirits are always one way. They're not always hardcore this. Once you develop a relationship with them and you open up yourself to them through psychedelics, you'll see them in a different perspective, and also it's a reflection of you too, right? Because I'm a fun, happy person, I guess they can relate to me that way. I don't know, I can see them that way. And they're always, when you work with spirits, they're always, you work with them so you can refine yourself and you can refine your mind and your body, and you want to become better. So they're strict and they're this and that, and there's riddles, or they're like that, or but when I'm having fun and I just want to party with them, I guess, because you could say like I'm free with them, then they're free with me. And then the after effects is what's more profound, I guess. So I'll have better dream communication with them. The next night, the next week, I'm able to call them quicker. It just opens up the tunnel, the portal easier. It opens up your portal because you are a portal, but it opens it up more. But like you said before, you have to be experienced because you need to know if something feeds off of you. And hey, I've had things feed off of me actually a couple of weeks ago. Maybe sometimes some things come through. They come through and they start draining me. However, I am a vampire too, so I can deal with it. So that's why you have to know. You have to know when something feeds off of you, how to cut it off or feed off of them and devour them. Or if it's an exchange, sometimes it's an exchange, you don't even realize that you made an agreement with the spirit and they're feeding off of you because you were feeding off of them. It's such a complex thing. But if you're not experienced with spirit work, you can open yourself up. And but yeah, that's a whole different topic.
yeah. So it was a pretty cool interview with a lot of warnings,
Yeah.
pros and cons regarding psychedelics. I was pretty serious maybe in this interview. You probably disliked the fact that I was serious, but I was serious.
I don't dislike you at all. I like you for who you are. I don't care if you're this way or that way. I can read what you are inside. That's what I like, is what's inside of you. So you
Thanks.
don't ever apologize. You be what you are. As long as you're not being disrespectful, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but I was serious because to me this is a serious topic. I mean, I can be funny, but pretty much I
Yeah.
wanted to laugh during this interview, no, nor tell jokes, and I wanted to be overly polite. because I knew a lot of people who started dabbling in occultism and psychedelics and they got fucked.
Yeah.
Because essentially, what I wanted to say is regarding spiritual parasites for the end. It's easy to banish them, but in order to get rid of them, you need to get out of the mental state which attract them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not able to get out of that mental state which attracts them, they will keep returning. And so pretty much a lot of people who start doubling into the occultism get spirit attachments and they cannot get out of that mental state and it heads down the loophole and they end up clinically insane.
Mm-hmm.
And what those people get those entities through psychedelics. So that's the reason why I was so serious and so huge in warnings.
Yeah.
But I am having like an interview with Joseph March this Friday, I think. So maybe we will call you on an interview
Mm-hmm.
too. So we share crazy, trippy
Sure.
stories. I have a lot
Sure.
of crazy, trippy stories of mine because I tripped on tobacco too. You can trip on tobacco. I tripped on tobacco. I tripped on LSD. I tripped spontaneously without anything. You can also trip on water, believe it or not. You can consecrate the water and trip on water, and you can trip on air. And you can also trip from overindulgence in reproductive activity. So you can like call Lilith overindulge in productive activity until she drains you, and then you will start tripping from exhaustion. And those kinds of trips are extremely intense, equally intense as LSD trips, to me at least.
Well, I will tell you this. You can, okay, so Marilyn Manson. This is a story about Marilyn Manson. Okay, you guys all know who not Marilyn Manson, sorry, Charlie Manson. You all know who Charlie Manson is. There was a guy that was in jail with him. He was an actor, a Spanish actor. You guys know who he is. He plays a lot. He plays in a lot of movies, but he's like a. Anyways, he was in jail with Charles Manson, and he was a heroin addict. And Charles Manson was able to hypnotize people and give them the trip back that they want. So they would get high. They didn't use the drugs, but he was able to give do something to where they would feel.
Yeah,
He
so
do it people because you have to be high. You have to get high. You can do it to somebody who's never. Oh, did I just shit? Did you hear anything I just said?
I
Did it?
heard you, but you were like cutting every second word.
Okay. So basically, Charles Manson was able to hypnotize people in jail to get them high, but they had to have had previous experience of being high, meaning that your brain, and I know this from being a recovering addict, you can, like how you say you feel naturally high. Yes, you can get yourself back into that state without having any use. You can do that. It's possible. People do it. Charles Manson did it to his jail cell part whatever mates, cellmates, and they loved him for that because they were heroin addicts that couldn't get heroin, but he would do something. He would hypnotize them, and they would wake up high. Pretty powerful shit.
Yeah, but I personally think that there is a difference between hypnotism and spiritual experience. People don't understand the difference between the two. I was hypnotized by hypnotherapist, so
Oh,
not
I don't
once,
know.
multiple
I
times,
don't know what that's
and that's not like uh, that's not like it's
No, I'm
what.
saying that he's able to bring back the memories of them being high, and when they would get out of it, they were high. So they, without having use of any heroin, he still did something where it brought that back to them. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Anyways, anyways, yeah. Okay, so
So
call
yeah,
me.
this serious as the interview was super duper cool. Uh, Talk to you soon, guys. This was amazing. So
Right.
if you want more of Eldoria, smash the like button and share this video everywhere, and buy Eldoria more mushrooms than she can take. So
All right, bye.
yeah.